Hi guys, welcome back to Before Marriage. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. We just want to say thank you guys for all the love. Thank you for your likes. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks most especially for your feedback. From a lot of the feedback that we got, it's obvious you guys like gist. So we are back here to give you guys some more gist. So today we want to talk about a topic that we feel is really critical with regards to the direction your marriage will go and probably like what you will experience in there. And that thing is unrealistic expectations, because we find that when we talk to a lot of people, we realize that the major bone of contention, the major source of tension or conflicts in marriage is often unrealistic expectations that people have going into marriage. So today, we want to share with you guys a few of the unrealistic
I think we're going to mess that word up.
Expectations.
Video, so just disclaimer.
What a few of the see, you jinxed it. Unrealistic.
Is a realistic expectation to have.
Unrealistic expectations that we went with into marriage that could have destroyed our marriage. And by destroyed, we don't mean like divorce or separation or anything, but just stuff that would have negatively impacted sort of like the joy, the peace, the general atmosphere that we're currently experiencing in marriage.
Yeah, and before we get into that, we just released the seed journal. The link is right there below. Download the free sample. It's 10 seeds to harvest your husband. Because we find that a lot of people are dating random people. We call them weeds. You know, where you don't intentionally plant your seed to harvest the fruits. What you start dating are weeds, and you start getting married to weeds. And it just leads to a lot of struggles and confusion that we see in marriage today. So we've released the journal. The free sample is in the link below. 10 seeds to harvest your husband. Do you have anything? Because she did something to harvest.
He's about to ruin my story a bit, please. Basically, what he's trying to say is and I talk about this, I share this a lot, that before I got married, God took me through a season of preparation. And one of the things that he worked on, one of the things that he asked me to do in that season was to pray for my future husband. And by prayer, I don't mean, oh God, bring my husband now, where is he, sort of thing, but basically to pray concerning him, concerning his life, concerning his future, his leadership, his sexuality, his fatherhood, his relationship with God, his salvation, all those things. And it wasn't actually until we started getting to know each other that I actually realized that he actually gave his life to Christ around the time that I had been praying concerning his salvation.
She sowed the seed and then had the harvest. So we have 10 seeds. Just click on the link below and it will take you straight to where you can get your free sample. So 3 unrealistic expectations in marriage. I'm going to be sharing sort of three ways in which those unrealistic expectations would have ruined our marriage, like she said. I think the first one is that the butterflies that you feel will stay forever. When did your own die? Because mine died before.
Mine died before we got married. Died long time.
Chill now. Before we got married?
Before we got died long time.
I was saying it because you've been looking at me different. It's funny.
No, who recommended this your glasses?
Who? Me.
That's your problem. That's your problem.
Wow. Anyway, we see that, a lot of people get into marriage thinking that, that giz feeling that they had before they got married will last forever. And whenever that doesn't last, they feel like they don't love each other and that the marriage is not working. So, I think one of the things that we did was that we knew that we're coming into marriage and we knew that this thing would not sort of last. And I know because it's not realistic to feel like this thing is going to last, because I remember when we went in a Yankee to give birth to our son and
it's okay. It's all right. See him. Yesterday, I can't remember what. Yesterday, you were you were about to share a story and I knew that you were going to butcher the story, because you need to hear the story from my point of view to be able to accurately understand what happened, right?
Okay, share with.
Okay, so because I'm the storyteller here, right?
Sure.
Okay. So yesterday, I can't even remember what we were watching, and it was there was an interaction between like a couple or whatever, and the babe was busy fawning over something the guy did or the guy said or something, and I was just like, what? As in something ridiculous, something that didn't make sense. And it was obvious that it was because of her infatuation with the guy. The butterflies were still there, fresh.
Oh,
do you remember
I can't remember what it was.
But you remember this thing was, the butterflies were still there, fresh. That's why she was finding, this whole thing cute and stuff like that. I'm like, what's wrong with this one? Anyways, so the story that he wanted to share, right? Because we said that the whole butterflies, all of them died before we got married. So when I now gave birth, as in, because how it is now. When I gave birth, how it is, like new mom, you're really tired, that you're not really sleeping, all of that. This guy will now be yawning, as in, it's not even small yawn, as in his whole body will now yawn, as in he will now stretch. People downstairs, if we won't hear him yawning, ha! As in the thing used, as in it was bubbling up in my spirit. I'm like, why are you so tired? The person that in this situation, the person that is supposed to be tired is not even, and the guy will just.
I used to be scared to get tired. Like I'll feel young coming. I'm like before I release it, like I'm just like, because I thought she was joking at first, but at some point I realized that this thing is actually serious. Like, why are you tired? And I'm like, okay. So if she had come into this thinking, these butterflies are like, little things like that will always happen in your marriage that will sort of piss you off, and your partner will be wondering, where is this coming from? So
that's the thing. I feel like the butterflies are sort of like God's way of helping us in the beginning, sort of like a stepping stone. So when you have those butterflies, you're able to overlook certain things. But God doesn't expect the butterflies to be a crutch.
So why didn't you overlook?
I said the butterflies had died by that time now.
Oh,
they were not there again.
Okay.
But however, because of sort of like the patience muscles and all the other muscles, all the other character muscles that we have developed along the way, that the butterflies helped us develop along the way, when those butterflies were no longer there, I was then able to relate with you in, do you understand, in a better way, because it would have been
I think one thing that we took into marriage was that love is not a feeling, love is a decision. It's a decision that you make to sacrifice and to love this other person for the rest of your life. And we do it every single day. It's funny because we go to work, 95% of the time we don't feel like going to work, but we go to work anyway. And that's how it should be in marriage. Your feelings shouldn't determine or decide how you act or react or respond to your spouse. It's a decision that you've made before getting married, that what, regardless of what happens, this is a decision that I've made and I'm going to love this person regardless. So that's the first thing. The second unrealistic expectation that a lot of people go into marriage with is that we are both going to want the same thing in marriage. Right?
You're not looking at me.
Okay.
You should want what I want.
Okay. I know, what was it? I think the first unrealistic expectation, or the first thing that I thought, because, it's funny, but it's very subtle, this point, because a lot of people grow up with an idea of what marriage is based on what they've seen from their parents. And then when they get into marriage, they're just expecting that the other person grew up with them in their house, so they should obviously know that this is how we do things in this house. And I know the first one was...
my parents, right?
Your parents, yeah.
Like, my parents go everywhere together, and by everywhere I
think
mean
even
like,
to the toilet.
Yeah.
They don't. Okay, sorry, mom.
I mean, like, literally everywhere. Like, every occasion they're going to visit, like, they go everywhere together. They are literally like 5 and 6. They go everywhere together. I remember, like, when he came into the picture, he found that a bit strange, because that was sort of like the complete opposite of where he was coming from and what he was used
Like
to.
growing up, my dad would go, like we just hear dad is not at home or dad has gone out, and my mom would go out on her own. Like I never, like they rarely went to the same place together, and that to me that was just what it was. So when we got married, and she'd be like, "Oh, my cousin just gave birth. When are we going?" I'm like, "What's we?" Like we're not in French class here.
Wow.
We. All right. Anyway, so what's we in this? Like, go and tell them that I'm busy or something. But this is where submitting to the truth and to God's word comes in, because I could have easily said, this is how I am, this is how I've always seen marriage and everything, and just accept me for who I am. But I had to come to that understanding, or come to the awareness that, what does the word say about this? Like, is it good for a husband and wife to not go to places together? And that's how I was able to sort of imbibe your own mindset about marriage. Like, when are we going? I'm like, yeah, it's the right thing to actually go to places with your wife and stuff like that. So, and a lot of people ask us, how come your marriage is working? And it's literally to compromises like this, not sort of, sticking to what you've always known, but just being open enough to be like, what, maybe you have a point. Maybe I can change in this place. Maybe I can adjust to this. And little things like these are the things that have sort of helped our marriage work. I think, what's next? What else did we sort of come in? I think Momsy and Grandmomsy.
Yeah.
Because if, like, people who know my family, like, they think my dad's mom is my mom's mom. Like, I remember she was telling me a story a few months ago of how she was at my grandmom's place and one of her friends came. I was like, and I think my dad came at that point, and her friend was like, "Oh, my in-law, how are you?" And everybody was like, "What do you mean your in-law? Like, that is her son." And she was like, "Are you kidding?" Like, she always thought my mom was her daughter because they would go everywhere together. They are so close. And I know before I gave my life to Christ, like, I was always like, a deal breaker for me was, the person I was gonna get married to had to be close to my mom. And when I met OG, they couldn't be any more opposite. Now they're getting along, but at the time I was just like, God, like this, because OG is very, very official. Like, she is very, like, it's like she's in the office at all times. I remember when she texted my dad one time after we started dating. I think she wanted to change money with him, and she texted him after, like, I think you said a pleasure doing business with you.
I did not say that. I didn't
something
say,
very similar.
I didn't say it's a pleasure doing business with you.
You were very
like,
official.
Why will I say?
You were very official.
I did not say.
My dad had to, like, what, like what kind of text message is this? Like why is she, like, why is she sounding so, like, she's our daughter to be, right? Like, why is she sounding so official? And that's how she is. Like, I'm always like, baby, you're too serious when it comes to setting, like, you got your mom and dad need to hear this. I was going through her phone and her dad started calling, and guess what I saw? Normal people like us, we store our parents' name as dad, mom, or store it as first and last name, like first and last name. Even for my mom, like, what do you have it stored as?
No, I have mom.
Okay, so that and I think that one, I don't know why you did that, because normally you'd be like Mrs. Omosha, or...
No, see, that one, there's an explanation for that one.
There is.
There is actually an explanation for that one. I'd like to hear
this. What?
My parents actually have different, as in, it's not just one contact that they have on the phone. So there's a contact that is the pet name that we call them. I haven't
seen that ever.
And then there's I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
Okay.
I'm not lying. The problem is, one of the contacts is like the Android contact that was saved with their email addresses.
They have their first and last name. Let's just leave it like that, okay?
There's no explanation.
There's no explanation for this. So, and we've seen marriages sort of get ruined based on things like this. Oh, my wife doesn't get along with my mom, or my husband doesn't get along with my dad, and so it can't work. But again, submitting to the truth, I had to ask myself a question, which one would I rather have? My wife being close to my mom, or my wife and I being close? because I've seen marriages where the wife and the mom are close, but the marriage is not working. So, which one would you rather have? Your marriage working, or that your wife and your mom are close? So, it was something that it was a mindset that I had to sort of review and revert and transform to sort of be like, you know what, maybe my wife and my mom don't have to be as close. They can respect each other and, have that mutual understanding. But maybe, what I saw growing up is just their own unique relationship. We don't really need to replicate that kind of relationship. Because I remember before we got married, like a lot of people were really, like when we went to see family, like, just get ready, man. All the weddings, all the parties, like two of you are going to have to be going, because that's what my mom and my grandmom have been doing forever. But they were expecting her to be the same type of person, but she's not the same. And we just had to sort of create a unique relationship.
I am, but I'm getting better. I'm not as introverted as I used to be.
True. You're actually getting better.
I've actually come out of my shell quite a lot. So I guess that's sort of like as in compromise from my own side as well. I'm no longer as shy and introverted as I used to be.
I agree. I think the third thing the biggest shocker for me, because I'm from a family where everybody dishes their food from the pot themselves, and regardless.
No. This is not what you should be saying right now. You should be saying that you are somebody that steals meat from the pot. That's how you should have started this. That you are somebody that you are a meat stealer. You are a meat from pot stealer.
No, because my mom just always like would eat, and there are 5 pieces of meat, 6 pieces, like 3 pieces of chicken. And I remember when we were dating, like I went to her house and she gave me food one time, and it was a portioned serving of rice with a piece of chicken. And I looked at her like,
as in this
hold on. And I'm like, it has finished. They are frying more. Like there's more coming. And just said, because I'm hungry, let me just eat a bit right now. I'm just like who offers somebody one piece of chicken? Who offers somebody
one huge piece of chicken? Like huge piece of chicken.
And when we got married, it almost became an issue because she would serve me food and it's like one piece of chicken. I'm like,
huge.
What's going on
as
here?
In like,
it's not huge now. It wasn't huge. Look at the chickens that we have in the fridge. Are they huge?
Are this the size of chicken that they used to have in those Nigerian chickens that are like the injected fertilizer into the
it's not huge.
The injected fertilizer.
Well, anyway, like stuff like that, like I'm expecting a certain thing and then I'm getting something else in return. Again, I had to sort of compromise because I've been trying to lose weight for the longest time when I was still under my dad and mom's roof, and it just never happened. I'll work out for like an hour, 2 hours, and I'll go and eat like 6 pieces of meat or chicken, and it was just evening out. But when we got married and I was able to sort of like compromise and be like, you know what? Because I remember she'd be like, just try it. Like, you're full. You're actually full. As in,
like, the guy is full. Like, but there's no space for anything again. You're just looking for meat.
Yeah, so, and all, like, I lost weight, like, and now I don't even see I can't eat more than one max.
Huge piece of chicken.
We'll show you a picture of this chicken that she's calling huge. I don't understand. It's not huge. It's just chicken. Jeez. So yeah, like, there are a lot of marriages that are broken up because one guy just feels disrespected because his wife is serving him one piece of chicken, or
huge piece of chicken.
Oh my god, huge. Next one. just let's get off this huge business because I don't understand. Third point, final one, is that everything will get better. A lot of people come into marriage with this mindset that everything will get better, and it's like someone who is lonely.
That's the thing, like like I speak to a lot of ladies and they're like, oh, like when I get married, like this loneliness will go, or I'll finally have a friend for life and stuff like that. And yes, while marriage affords you that lifetime companion, a lot of people don't actually realize that there's a difference between being alone and a difference between being lonely. God didn't say, oh, it's not good for Adam to be lonely. He said it's not good for Adam to be alone. You can have people surround you, yet you still feel lonely. Marriage is not going to solve that problem. That's a mental health issue that you need to sort of like address aside from marriage, because there are so many people that are stuck in marriages and they are so lonely. Like, it's sort of
now
like
you're even more lonely
exactly,
than you were
because
being single.
you have like somebody there that's supposed to be a companion, and you're supposed, but you just feel like isolated and by yourself. So like marriage is really not a cure-all for a lot of these things.
Even we heard one a few weeks ago where she was like, she felt trapped in her father's house, and then she thought that marriage would be an escape, and now she's more trapped than she was when she was in her father's house. Like, marriage, I think this point is a very subtle one, because it sounds like it's true. Like, two should be better than one. Even the Bible says two should be better than one. Like, everything in your life, by coming together with somebody, should get better. But I think the unrealistic expectation here is that you expect to get better by staying the same way you were coming into marriage. And it's funny, I was telling her this earlier today, like 2 plus 2, a lot of people get into marriage thinking 2 plus 2 should be equals to 22. So 2 stays the same, 2 stays the same, and then it equals 22. But in reality, the 2's need to change the identity. Like 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So 2 and 2 need to change the identity to become something else in 4. That is what marriage should be about. Like, we are both coming together to get better, but you need to give, like, what are you willing to give up to go up? Even the Bible says that who wants to build a tower but doesn't sit down first to count the cost? You need to know, what am I giving up to get better in this sort of relationship? And I think, we like what we had to come to the awareness of, we have to come into this thing with realistic expectations. Whatever unrealistic expectations that we came, because the Bible also says that you need to put away childish things. For you to excel in marriage, you need to go from being a boy to being a man, and being a girl to being a woman, because marriage is between a man and a woman, not between a boy and a girl. So we need to start having realistic expectations. So we're going to go through a few of the realistic expectations that you need to have in order to, come into marriage with the right sort of mindset.
I think the first one is, when you're living in such close confinement with some, I say confinement. Like it's a prison.
It's a prison.
I think you are living in such close quarters or such close space or whatever. You guys know what I mean. With someone else, obviously disagreements are bound to happen. You guys are coming from completely different backgrounds. First of all, man, woman, you perceive things differently. You're not coming from completely different backgrounds where you've been programmed differently, you've received different information, you have different upbringing, different understanding of things. Obviously, disagreements are going to happen. But I feel like a lot of people feel like disagreements are a bad thing. That, if you disagree about something, then it's just a bad thing. But disagreements actually create the atmosphere for you guys to come into agreement concerning those things that you initially disagree about. So then again, there's a difference between disagreeing and fighting. Just because you don't agree on something doesn't mean that it has to be a name-calling match or a disrespectful exchange, that sort of thing. As
Absolutely.
in, proper communication is really key.
So, like she said, you just need to come in knowing that there definitely going to be disagreements, and more importantly, how do we deal with these disagreements when they come? We do something that has really been helpful, where we have a marriage review. So every quarter, so every 3 months, we sit down and be like, what is working, what isn't working, what can we do to make it better? Just like how you have work reviews at your place of business or place of work. Like, you don't just go years without your manager coming to you to say, these are your key performance indicators, what could you be doing better and stuff like that. So we have a marriage review every quarter in our marriage to sort of check up and to check the temperature of our marriage. So next thing is, I know for me, I had to come to realization that I'm not going to be right all the time. That is a realistic expectation to have, because you are not going to be right all the time. I don't know why you're looking like that.
Because your wife is going to be right every single time.
That's what she thinks.
That's
but guess what? She's wrong. She's right 95% of the time. There's still that 5% that she's wrong.
I'm right 99% of the time.
There's still that 1%.
That's still A. That's still A.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay. I think coupled with that is I had to come to the realization that my wife is better at certain things than I am. You know, I know a lot of guys see that as an ego trip, as in it has caused a lot of fights because they're like, how can my wife, like, we see our wives as weaker vessels as opposed to them being equals. Like, she's actually a very intelligent person. She knows what she's doing. They're like, she's a financial analyst. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to be forming, I'm the man of the house, I need to be handling the finances. She's a financial analyst, for crying out loud. So for the finances, I've delegated that to her and a few other things in the house. Like, she's better at things than she's better than me in certain things. Delegate it as opposed to, you know, allowing it mess with your ego. I think one other thing, I think you have to learn this, or no, maybe me saying I'm sorry. I think that's always been your strength. I think you say you're sorry faster than
not really faster.
Faster than
no, fastest finger.
Me. So for me, why is it like it's me that is only saying the realistic expectation?
When I told y'all that I'm right like 99% of the time, you guys are now saying it, right?
No worries, no. It's me that entered that trap. Don't worry. It's a trap. It's called a trap, man. So yeah, I had to learn to say I'm sorry, you know. And like I said, it's just little things like this that has, you know, made us sort of work. And finally, just understanding that she's a woman, I'm a man. We are different. We see things differently. We interpret information differently as well. You need to come into marriage with that realistic expectation of there are two different people in this marriage and things are going to be different. You need to be willing to adjust and respond to situations as they come and sort of understand that the difference isn't there to separate you, it's there to make you stronger. You know, and just having that understanding will help make your marriage sweeter and I guess improve the environmental atmosphere. Yeah, so we've come to the end of this one. Again, before we go, the seed journal is available. Check out the sample and, you know, share it with your friends if it's been a blessing. There's also the paid version as well if you'd like to upgrade it as well. So, Dave, we'll come to the end of this one. I don't know, man. I've been craving some suya lately.
See, this one you don't know you're in Canada. Instead of as in better have realistic expectations. Instead of you to be craving maple syrup, it's suya. I pity you. You're on your own.
Can you at least think about it?
Think about what?
Okay.
You better go and eat your one piece of chicken that is waiting for you in the
The big piece of chicken.
The huge
piece of chicken.
If you see that chicken, the thing is as big as the whole chicken.
Anyway, guys, this huge piece of chicken. Don't worry, we're gonna eat it. Thanks for joining us. Till next week. Have an awesome one. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video and share it. Have a good one. Till next week. Take care. Bye.